Hey, Will King here from High Cotton Homes, and today we're going to be talking about reverse osmosis water filters and what they are, how you can install them, and the benefits of them. But first, I want to start off by saying this is not a sponsored video by iSpring or any other reverse osmosis company. This really is just a product that I've been using for several years, and we've loved it. I've got it at my own house, we've got it at our office now, and a lot of our clients have it in their houses too. It's just a really cost-effective solution to just upgrading the overall performance of your house and even the safety of your house. So if you know much about me, you'll hear me talk about low-cost, high-impact items. And that's something that we really try to hit on here in our company. This is definitely one of those things. It's around $200 that you can invest, and it totally changes the game when it comes to your drinking water in your house. Now, to start with, what is reverse osmosis? I think that's probably what some people might be asking, and that it's really just a process in which water under pressure is forced through, and I'll show you how this membrane is spiraled around this cylinder. The pressure forces the water through it, and that membrane is so small that only water molecules can pass through. And so what you're left with is about 99% of all viruses, bacteria, sediments, anything bad in your water is filtered out and flushed away. So that's the best part about it, is that it's one process and you have excellent, clean drinking water. Even chlorine's wiped away inside this system, which is a huge winner for us. So what you see in front of me though is the whole system. So it's actually several different parts, and it's because it's pre-treating the water before it even gets to the RO membrane that sits on top of it. So what you're seeing here is a 3-stage filter. It comes in stage 1 on this side, and then obviously stage 2, stage 3, it comes up to your RO membrane. Now these first 3 down low consist of a sediment filter to start with, and then it has 2 different carbon filters to get improves the taste, the smell, gets that chlorine out, gets all the rough sediments out before it even gets to the RO membrane. This whole system you can buy on Amazon for around $200, and these filters are also available. So one thing I like is that if you forget which model you bought, you can always just go to your order history and look up which one you bought, and then you can find your filters. But anyway, after it passes the 3rd stage, it enters in the reverse osmosis filter housing. So inside of this housing is this element, this RO element, and you can tell if you look at it, it's actually got the spiraled up, tightly wound RO membranes, and that's what the water is forced through. So the water that makes it through those spiral membranes is actually what passes on to the next stage. Everything that doesn't get through it gets washed down the drain. And so we can talk about that in a second. But after the water comes out of the RO filter, now this is where some of the models are going to vary. This one has a post-carbon filter, which is pretty common actually, past the RO membrane. That again, that's just anything that the smell, the taste, it's going to make a little more improvement to it before it actually gets delivered to your faucet. But once it leaves that, now this one has an alkaline filter, so it basically is going to be able to put the healthy minerals back in your water that your body needs and balances the pH. There's other models that have UV lights and possibly even more accessories I don't know about, but typically they're like a 5, 6, or 7 stage reverse osmosis. Now we mentioned the drain water. So it does generate a lot of wastewater. So everything that doesn't get through the membrane does get washed down the drain. It pipes into the P-trap underneath your drain. It comes with a little saddle valve that you can just mount over the 1.5 or 2-inch PVC, and it just holds that 1/4-inch line, and that's your discharge. And it's under pressure, remember, so you don't have to worry about having fall on that line. So that's a really nice feature. Now this whole assembly, I guess we talk about where it's mounted. What's the ideal location? Now keep in mind, this is available, and I recommend it for new construction houses. I also recommend it for existing homes. So if you're remodeling your house, or if you're just trying to upgrade a few things at your house, this is something that you can do at any stage. So it's made to go under your sink and in your cabinet underneath your sink. Now, this plate will just screw to the wall of your cabinet and it holds it up off the bottom of your cabinet, which makes servicing it a little bit easier because you can unscrew these housings. So that's one option. It also has a tank that I'll show you. But the other option that you can mount it in is a mechanical room, and that's my favorite. So basement or a mechanical room, and then the 1/4-inch poly line that comes with it, or you can buy more, you can pipe it up to your faucet or your refrigerator or wherever you're sending this RO water. Now we talk about the tank, so let me show you this. So this is I think 3.2 gallon is what they say. And the water will come into the top of this with a little valve. Now it does have this tank's under pressure, so it's got a Schrader valve in the bottom. It's a very low pressure system, but it's a reserve. So RO is not a fast process, so that's why it has a tank. So if you didn't have a tank and you just turn on your faucet with this model, you would not get much water out of your faucet. It'd be very low flow. So that's why we have a reservoir tank, and that's what this is for. But now, fun fact with this, if 3 gallons isn't enough, you can add a second one, a third one, or if you also look online, you can find these in, I think, 11, 13 gallon capacities from iSpring, which is kind of cool. I was looking at that for our office, actually. But anyway, we talk about mechanical rooms and roughing in for it. So let's discuss that. So if you're building a new house, what can you do to plan? What we do is try to put them in a mechanical room if possible. I mentioned that. And from there, you can rough in with 3/8 or 1/2 inch PEX from your mechanical room to each faucet location that you're going to run off of the RO system. And then from there, you can put a stop on the PEX and then convert it over to this 1/4-inch poly line that would go up to your faucet. So that's probably the easiest way to rough it in for a new construction home. But again, if you're remodeling or you have an existing home or you don't have room for it, it's no problem to put it underneath your sink. Now, there also is a tankless option for reverse osmosis. And now this one does have a tank like I showed you, but they do make models that are tankless. So if you're extremely tight on space, you can buy a tankless option, and they may cost a little more money, but they are available. So one of the big benefits I feel like of the reverse osmosis kit like this one is that it's very DIY friendly. It doesn't have to be done by a professional or a plumber or a builder or any contractor. Most homeowners with basic tool knowledge can install this. So iSpring, and I'm sure other companies do the same thing, they make it really easy. So they send you a valve like this one. This is going to screw onto the stop that your kitchen faucet's already screwed to. So you'll unscrew the cold water line, screw this on, put your sink line back on top, your faucet line back on top, and then off the side is the supply that just pops in like a little sharp bite fitting, and that's what feeds the RO system. So that's how you get water to it. The other thing for safety is this little cutoff valve. Now what's neat about it is you can hear it's got absorbent in it. So when you mount this to the bottom of your cabinet, if you ever have a leak and water soaks into it, it's going to swell and then cut the valve off inside of here. So if you're out of town or if you're traveling somewhere or even if you're asleep and you don't realize you have a leak, this might save you from having serious damage by having a little leak stop built into it. So that's nice. And I guess talking about leaks, let's just be honest, there's so many fittings on this thing. And that is one thing that's probably the negative of an RO system, especially under your sink, that you need to be mindful about. All these push connect fittings, you know, they're all 1/4-inch OD pipe. I don't know, there's probably 20 of them, plus all the O-rings on the filters, a lot of lines running. At some point in its life, you're going to have a leak, most likely. So that's why they send you this, and it's also good to periodically check on it to make sure you're not having any leaks show up. But again, that's one reason I like to put them in a mechanical room or in a basement, so if you did have a leak, you may have a floor drain there in your mechanical room, and you wouldn't end up with a lot of damage in your home. So I mentioned that I have this in my own house and in my own office, and to be honest, one of the reasons that I started using reverse osmosis is because I'm a total coffee snob. I love good coffee, and the best place to get good coffee, the best place to start is with good water. And I have found that using reverse osmosis is the only way to go to get the best tasting coffee. And it also prolongs the life of your coffee pot, fun fact. So by removing all the contaminants from the water and getting it really, really clean, it actually reduces all the scale buildup and the funk inside your coffee pot. I've actually had the same Keurig at my house for 15 years and it still works today. And it's because I feel like it's just running off of reverse osmosis water. So not only do I like good coffee, it's also great for my family. I feel like by removing all the contaminants, any chlorine out of that water, it's just peace of mind knowing that your family is drinking really clean water. And that's something that my wife and I both sleep better at night knowing is that we have good water for our children and for our family. So the last thing I'll mention about why reverse osmosis works for us and why I like it is because we don't buy bottled water. And I think a lot of families still do. A lot of people keep it at their house in cases. But by installing this, you're going to eliminate the need to buy bottled water for your house. Now, you may still want it for on-the-go stuff, but this will totally eliminate the need to buy it for your own home. So that's going to be, you start doing the math with the amount of bottled water you're buying compared to a $200 system. Chances are that alone is going to pay for itself pretty quickly if you're buying a lot of water. So hopefully you learned a little bit today about reverse osmosis, what the system is, what it looks like, and a little bit about installing it. If you hadn't followed us on Instagram, please go do so. It's at High Cotton Homes. We'd love to connect with you there. And just remember, iron sharpens iron, so keep grinding, keep watching these videos, and we'll see you again right here next week.